Hello everybody and welcome to Chat It Out. Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Chat It Out. And today we're talking about game consoles. And in the studio today we've got Egg, Tribune,
hello,
and we've got Polo.
Hi.
And all three of us, the three of us, are here to talk about games and consoles. And if you've got any opinion of what your favourite console is or whatever, just span on the comments. So guys, let's get on with this. What is your favourite console and what do you think of the new consoles?
Well, it's a tough one. I don't know. For years I was a PlayStation man. For years and years and years.
Why is that?
I don't know. It just seemed the better console at the time, graphic wise and games wise. There was just more out there. And then when
PS2 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the PlayStation 1, you know. Because the only competitor really was the N64, I'd say, and then possibly the GameCube/Dreamcast afterwards. But I digress slightly.
I prefer the N64.
Only for the certain games though. There's only 2 or 3 games.
Zelda. Who listened to this remembers Zelda Ocarina of Time?
Yeah. In that aspect, Ocarina of Time was probably the best game on the 64.
Go on.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Car racing.
But I don't know. But then, like when obviously the next gen console came out, which was the 360 at the time, the PS3, there was the whole like, oh, I'm a PlayStation man to the core, so I'll get that. But then they put it back a year, and I was like, well, I'm ready for the next gen console, and you know, I'm not the one I've won isn't available. So I went for the 360, and I think it's probably one of the best decisions I made because that console is pretty awesome. I've got to say, there's not many crap games on there, and like the only improvement on the PS3 obviously is that like they waited the extra year to stick in a Blu-ray player basically, and the PlayStation Network's free, but then there's the whole hacking scandal, so it swings and roundabouts. But I don't know, compared
because that 360 pretty much won that generation, didn't it? Really?
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
Start. I think that's definitely. But to be fair, as much as I love the 360 and has became one of my favourite consoles, I would say that if the PS3 had came out either before or at the same time, it probably would have won just because how big the PS2 was. I mean, the first Xbox was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah,
with Halo and all that.
But it came out after the PS2 was already out, so the PS2 already basically dominated the market.
Yeah, and that's for the GameCube. Well. See, I love the GameCube. I've got nothing against it. The GameCube was a brilliant console, but it had about 2 games, and
it lasted about 5 seconds.
And and for some reason it just sort of got, I don't know, what happened to the Cube? It just sort of
just died.
You know,
just got overshadowed, didn't it?
Yeah, because it had a better graphic card than the PS2. You know, it had some good games on it, but it didn't have the diversity, let's say, of the PS2 or the first Xbox.
No, in that aspect it was very limited because obviously it was all Nintendo or Namco based games, whereas the PS2
the only real action game I remember was like Resident Evil 4, which was awesome, but that was also on PS2, so if you had a PS2 it was probably easier for those people to buy that.
With the Cube, it's like with every console, they're in the limelight and then all of a sudden this big dark cloud.
Well, look at
look at Nintendo, they're pretty much
it happens with all consoles, but
GameCube is Nintendo, isn't it?
GameCube had the shortest limelight, I think, out of all consoles.
Look at the Wii though, I mean, like, I don't care what anyone says, that was a gimmick console. Because originally, and I don't care what anyone says, like all the messing around and the bullshit, originally that was aimed at fat kids to do exercise. That's pretty much what they said in their, you know, at the E3. They said it a bit more polite than that, but that's what it was aimed at.
It was also aimed towards families, wasn't it?
Yeah, but no, not originally. But nowadays, because nobody cares about the Wii or the Wii U, which we don't talk about, it's now a family console.
Do you know, originally it was going to be called the Nintendo Revolution, and Microsoft said, oh, that's what we're going to call our console, and then they called it the 360. And then they got a new sort of lead designer, or whatever they called it at Nintendo, and he just happened to be called Mr. Wii, and decided he'd be creative and name it after himself.
Oh no.
But it's funny how Nintendo have done a Sega and have literally just died out. I mean, the new Xbox One has some great games coming out, like the new what's the new Rome game called?
Rise. There's a couple of new ones coming out I was watching today actually. The new Batman.
Watch Dogs looks pretty good.
Yeah, Batman Arkham Knight, that looks really good. It's coming out, I believe, end of this year. What was it? Murdered Special Ops or Ghost Ops or something, which is to do with like you're a cop that gets killed, and the graphics on that look wicked, and the whole storyline, it's very grim and murky. And the last one I noticed was we were watching earlier was a new sort of Lord of the Rings game, The Shadow of Mordor, and the only way I can describe it is it's basically Assassin's Creed but better. It just looked wicked, and like the whole dynamics of the game, depending on your choices, changed the character individually. So say if you set him on fire, he'd remember you set him on fire if you were starting to fight him, and the dialect had changed to that, and they were saying it's unique to every single gameplay because there's so many different variables that can happen, you know, that like the character changes in certain aspects and stuff. And I just think like the next generation, they're really trying to step it up a gear. So I don't know, the Xbox One's the one to look forward to at the moment. I've not seen many on the PS4 at the moment.
I personally feel that the last generation that became one of the biggest generations in some ways was very much about the graphics and really pushing what they could do. I personally feel that this new generation, I think what's the fourth generation, is it Cameron? Is going to be. I think they will push the graphics or try to, but from what I've seen personally, I think it's going to be more about, because you're going to have much more powerful chips and graphic cards in the new consoles. I think this generation is going to be much more about like pushing, making them more like interactive films, even more so. I know we had that before with games like Heavy Rain.
Yeah. Well, the PlayStation 2 was the first one that sort of set that sort of atmosphere of games.
But I feel that they're really going to push out how much they can have on the screen. You know, even more bad guys at time, making things appear more realistic. I think it's going to be more about realism and story arcs and really pushing what they can do in the sense of technically how much you can have, like maybe have armies of. So rather than in maybe past games you might be fighting say 10 guys, you might actually finally have a game that might already be one out there where you're actually say one soldier in the middle of a massive a massive battle with literally thousands of different avatar units rather than just 10 or 12 like you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think that will be the biggest difference rather than graphics. I think.
Yeah, so I can't see graphics improving for quite a while because I think they're at the peak at the moment. But then again, look at the days in the N64. You didn't know any better. You thought that was the peak of graphics back then.
True.
And now look at them. But
I mean, I don't know. At the moment, though, I'm not going to go for Xbox One or PS4 to be honest, because they're still, I think, £400 each per console at least.
So you guys,
if I had to choose, I think. I mean, I've still got the 360, and I've still got about 1 million games to play.
They're not going to stop bringing games out.
No, they're not. No, because
that's what the PS2 got.
Well, I thought, like Thief, I only got it the other week, which is a wicked game. I thought that was only out on the Xbox One, but apparently it's on the 360 and the PS3. You know, it's multi-platformal and stuff.
And it'd be stupid just to totally.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. Well, look at PS2, like you said, for ages, for a good 4 or 5 years afterwards, they were still releasing games, even though the 360 was out on the PS3. It's only I think even
because not everybody can afford free.
Was it the first or second Black? I think the first or the first Black Ops or the first Modern Warfare 3 was out on the PS2 as well. I think. I mean, don't quote me on that. I'll double check
like
that.
The FIFAs and stuff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it went on for a while. But I think if my next console, if I was to get one, would be a PS3, just because I want to play certain games that aren't that are just for the PS3, like For the Xbox 360, it's your Gears of Wars and stuff, and
for you guys up there, I would personally recommend, if you don't quite, if you want to wait for the new consoles to come down in price a bit, and you've got a 360 and you haven't got a PS3 yet, I personally would get, because now they're probably only like £100.
Yeah, and you can pick up a 250 gig one. I saw on game for probably about 120, and that's with 3 or 4 games with it.
And there's so many good, fantastic games.
Yeah, the Heavy Rain one. The Last of Us just not come out. The Uncharted series, God of War.
And that will keep you going for at least a year or two.
Resistance Fallen Man did a couple, they were pretty good. The Overkills. So there's a lot on the PS3 there.
And then by the time you've played all them, it will be a year or two down the line, and then you'll be able to buy an Xbox One or PS4. And personally, I would like to say which is technically better, because it's a bit like Porsche and Ferrari. It's probably... You're either going to get an Xbox One because you had a 360, or you might go back to the old Sony and get a PS4. I'm sure there'll be split opinions on that, because the Xbox the Xbox One has been pointed more. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's been pointed more of an entertainment system, which gives it a little bit of a Wii factor. So I really hope that doesn't kill Microsoft, because, you know, for the true gamers, they're going to be like, what? An entertainment system? What's that about? And a lot of the new features that the Xbox One supposedly has, personally, just feels like modified 360 stuff. Like, you've got to Kinect. Yeah, I had that before. It's much better, but blatantly when you get it, you'll be like, Kinect on! Kinect on!
Well, actually, my mate's got an Xbox One, and I was sort of having a bash on it the other week, and it is very much still quite clicky, because you Xbox on, and you're like, I'm going to make a cup of tea, you come back, and it's like, oh, I'll just turn myself on, and it's still a bit buggy, I think, because you can be like...
a good few
updates, yeah.
It needs to recognise your voice, which will take.
Because there's still a few stuff like you'd be like, you know, like in the adverts, it's like Xbox, watch Star Trek Into Darkness, and it's perfectly straight away. You could literally go and make yourself a drink, or go to the toilet, come back, and it's like, oh, I've decided to do it now. So the potential for the technology is there to be really good, but it's still very buggy, I'd say. And like the whole, you know, it shoots out different colours for watch a game in the background.
Yeah, have you seen that thing they got? Is it on the new PS4 where you can sort of design like a cartoon
and flick it on
the screen, and the little things play?
It is cool and stuff, but I just think that's not a real gaming console. That is like your Wii console. But, you know,
I mean, I've always said eventually we'll have what they had in Star Trek, and
holosuites.
But you know, I've been waiting for that since I was like
for whole different reasons.
I sort of see the Xbox One as, instead of like by saying entertainment console, it's almost like a look what we can do console.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah.
But I want to do what I want to do. Sort of.
Yeah.
I don't know. In the negative aspect towards the 360 though, I don't like the fact they've updated the dashboard to look like Windows 8, because let's face it, Windows 8 is gay.
See, maybe that could be our next topic.
Well,
we think of Windows 8.
It could be, because obviously as well, you know, like, I know we've talked a lot about console gaming, but then look at PC gaming.
That's changed massively.
Look at Rome, was it Rome 2 and the new Company of Lag?
We have to have permission.
We got permission to play the game, go onto a server. Ruin it! Ruin PCs.
But yeah.
And then I know you were saying it's sort of on stream, but nowadays with the whole trophy system and achievement system, I think there should be a system out there for PC gaming. You know,
to get like G, but in PC.
In PC terms, like a trophy like the PS3 or something.
Yeah.
Something different, just because, you know, everyone likes to brag a bit. I mean, look, even between ourselves, we all have sort of individual, who's got the most G, and it's sort of like a running commentary to carry on the gaming.
So on that, sorry to cut you off there, Tribune. We could literally talk about games all night, and possibly because of how much we love games, we'll most probably do another one. I don't know if Polo, have you got any last words you want to say?
No.
Good. Okay. Well, please, thank you for listening. Keep watching all our channel out episodes. Comment below what you think, or what your favourite game is, what console. Maybe you want to say, oh, actually, you know, I'm 30 odd and I used to prefer playing the SNES or the Atari or any console we haven't mentioned. Comment it. You know, what we'd love to hear your comments. It'd be interesting. And I hope this has interested you slightly and sparked you off into conversation games, and we'll possibly do more on this topic, just because we all could talk about this all night. So thank you for listening, and keep watching Channel Out, and then until next episode,
goodbye, thank you.
Goodbye everybody, say goodbye everybody, woohoo, bye everybody, woo.